Hello and welcome back to Revamp Design. We're going to go over another email critique today, and let's go ahead and jump right in. This email that I want to critique is from IFTTT, which is an awesome tool for automation and things like that. So let's go into what they're doing with their newsletter email. Obviously, we ignore the forward as usual. The subject line is new on IFTTT. Connected ecosystems, smarter savings, and more. And then we've got a little bit of pre-header text. Right off the bat, I don't think the subject line is the strongest that it could be. Sometimes it is helpful to have a subject line that's fairly consistent, especially when it's for something like this, where it's a newsletter where we have consistent content, a consistent feel, or a consistent expectation of what the content will be. However, I think this isn't intriguing to me still. I do tend to ignore these as of late. I used to be really interested in seeing what they had to provide, and they're starting to move a different direction than what I'm interested in, which is fine for their business because they probably are really marketing to specific people with specific interests that are different than my own, and that's totally fine. I still think there could be maybe some either personalization or something else in here just to make the subject line a little bit stronger. So I'm just going to give it a score of 2. So let's go ahead and check out the email. Right off the bat, you can see this is very image heavy. There's almost no text. In fact, the text, if you drag out the images, you can see that the text, you can't highlight it, and therefore it's not live text, which isn't necessarily a bad thing with email since it's not going to affect your SEO. However, it does always run the risk of email clients or settings that default to no images showing. So that's always a risk there. I do know that they do send out a plain text version of this. It's kind of hidden in the back end. We won't go over that in this video, but I do know that they have it as a good fallback, especially since basically their entire design is based on their images. So with these images, the hierarchy for this email is pretty static. So I don't completely agree with the hierarchy choices here, unless they really they want everything to be equal, even despite the featured section versus the new and noteworthy section. There's nothing that catches my attention or says, look here first and then peruse at your leisure, that kind of a thing. So that's why I would give this a 3. The hierarchy isn't bad, but I don't think it's great either. With everything being equal, I'm just prone to choice overload, and I might not take any action because there's so many things that are basically the same. That is definitely a strategy for certain newsletters, but I do think it's helpful to provide some kind of hierarchy, at least for contrast and the purposes of driving a specific action. So that's why it's got a 3 for hierarchy. And actually, I kind of already brought this up with the CTA. Let's go over that. There's nothing here that says, other than my mouse cursor changing to the hand, that these are things that I can take action on. So I would give this CTA of 3, not just for that, but also for the aforementioned choice overload. The typical newsletter does have a lot of calls to action, a lot of choices for people. But right now, there's basically nothing here that either calls out to me with personalization or delivering content that I am more likely to respond to or to take action on. That also leads us into the value conversation for this email. We are looking at a whole bunch of choices for me as the reader. And as I said before, there's really no personalization going on here. They don't call out my own name, which is fine. It's not a necessary factor in value. However, it is nice to see that they're at least looking for ways to provide me specifically value rather than just kind of general blasting to anybody and everybody for whatever, regardless of their interests. I'm just pretty confident that if they had employed some kind of hierarchy where maybe we take the fact that I use this service here and put it at the very top and make it a little bit bigger than the rest. Something like that, just to stand out, because then it would indicate to me there's something that I can use with if this then that, and also this other product that I own or that I'm interested in. And then I'm really a lot more interested and apt to click on that call to action instead of just kind of having such a general listing of kind of random things that honestly, I have no idea what most of these things are, never use them. That would be something to consider. I think that it would improve the score. For now, I'm going to keep their score of value at about a 2. So for urgency and relevancy, our last section, the score I'm going to give them is a 1. And the reason is because there's nothing really encouraging me to go in and click on any of this. The only thing that would is, like I've said, if there was something on here, a product that I am actually using. Other than that, for the most part, these things aren't super attractive to me. They're not really pulling my attention. And so the urgency is super low. The relevancy is super low, as I've said before, with the lack of personalization that's present here. There's room for improvement. I think that would be an awesome way to go as far as focus for this newsletter, is to think about, what products do we know that our receivers of our emails are using? And we can do that based on what kinds of applets are we using with if this, then that, their service. I think that would be a really great focus for them to improve, and they may see some really big payout because of that. So total scores, subject line is a 2. We've got hierarchy at a 3, CTA at a 3, urgency and relevancy at a 1, value at 2. So that brings us to a total score of 11 out of 25. If you're interested in getting a critique or in improving your emails as well, feel free to send me an email, jess@revamp-design.com, and I'll be happy to help you out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.